Hello, everyone. This is Gruesome Earth Talk with my very special co-host, John Gillian. We have a very talented young filmmaker. His name is Jared Masters. Jared, how are you?
I'm doing okay-ish. I'm fine. How are you both?
I'm doing great. Johnny?
I'm fine.
Johnny, you brought Slink to my attention first, and then I went and purchased it. But Jared has a few other films I think you probably want to talk about first, correct?
Certainly correct.
Later.
Jared, can we start with The Umbrella, 2010?
Yeah, that was the film I did. It's about 25 minutes long, my first kind of proper short. I did a bunch of little silly movies growing up, but that was one where I was more into acting, and so I was in it. And it's a cute movie because it's about this umbrella that someone buys, and then they lose it in New York City, and it goes through a series of like 12 or 13 or maybe more people, and it goes, so we kind of follow the umbrella along to different characters, and it's a cute little movie, and it kind of made me realize it kind of like started my career in a way. And right after that I moved to Venice Beach, California, and started and did my first feature, which was Climate Tarzan.
Let's go into Climate Tarzan then.
Yes. And that movie, I was introduced to Doris Wishman, and I watched this movie in 2009 called Nude on the Moon, and it totally changed my life. Everyone should see it. It's about a guy who goes to the moon, and it's a nudist colony on the moon, and it's shot in Technicolor in 1962, and it just made me realize that low budget films could be a good route for me. And because up until then I was writing scripts, and I was thinking major budgets, which most people do, and they want to sell it to a major studio, but I realized you could have an entertaining film that was low budget. So at least that I thought so. A lot of people won't watch low budget films. They think they're like above them or something. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because like it's all about like just a good story. So I did Climate Tarzan, and I got bit by the exploitation bug, if you will. I was watching a lot of Russ Meyer films, and Faster Pussycat Kill Kill is a popular one.
Yes.
That's a good one. So I like this. Yeah, and then I thought, well, what if we just did an all-female cast? I don't know what gave me that idea, but I guess I couldn't find many movies that had all-female cast. And there's one called The Women. It was on 2008, and there's one in like the 40s or 30s. But surprisingly, there's not. So I think we still live in like an era that men dominate and subconsciously love other men and want to be surrounded by men. In their movies, like you look at Reservoir Dogs. I hear about that movie all the time, but you think about it, it's like 12 guys, sitting around a table, which is not bad. But if I was to make a movie, I would, maybe put 12 girls in there as the tough. But maybe I'm just crazy, it wouldn't have been a popular movie. But there's a lot of bro movies, and it's just weird to me that and I guess the filmmaker just likes to put his buddies in it or whatever. But I thought it, and now I got distribution with a company in New Jersey, Pop Cinema, that my production designer introduced to me, Adam Trash, and he helped me with that movie too. And there's one kind of modern distribution company, Alternative Cinema, they go by Pop Cinema, and they like vintage erotica type stuff, and it's kind of like a nudie cutie movie. It's very tame, very fun loving, and it's in Technicolor, and they bought it from me, and it's out on DVD and like Barnes and Nobles and Best Buy and all over Kmart. And then 8 Reels of Sewage I did after that, and it was kind of on the heels. So I've done 360s movies. It's kind of strange, but I really like the mod 60s style, and that's why The Conjuring I like, because it was done kind of late 60s, and I like the look of that. old things, you know.
Cool. Can I ask how you got your start in filmmaking?
Yeah, I just kind of decided that acting wasn't fulfilling enough because I joined the Screen Actors Guild in '07 and moved to New York, and I was, you know, on the hustle trying to act and stuff. I did a lot of background work and got upgraded occasionally. But on set, I would stand in for people, and I would just kind of watch the other directors, and I realized this seems like it might come naturally to me, like directing, because they're just, like, I understood what they were doing. They were getting all the different sizes. They were trying to make the producers happy. That seemed to be, like, the main part, because they'd always be like, one for the producers, the producers want another take, and I kind of, like, started to understand that there's, like, politics to a film, and a lot of people don't really understand this, but it's like anything else, you know. You have to, like, compromise with everyone, and you're gonna get other people yelling at everyone's trying to direct the movie, so that's when I did The Umbrella, my first short, and just to kind of test out how I like directing and stuff, and it just seems to come kind of naturally to me. I don't know if I'm good at it, but it's just kind of like, all right, let's get it done. And, you know, I kind of take the Ed Wood approach where I just plow through it, you know, and hope for the best. So, because it's just like when these people spend so much time on it, it's still empty. Like, if you start with something that's not funny or not scary or not entertaining, and, you know, you shoot it with the best camera you can find, it's not going to make a difference.
You're right.
No one's going to like it. So I just kind of take a different approach with my films, but to, you know, that's kind of how I got into it. I mean, my dad's a magician in New York, and he was in a couple soap operas in the '80s, so he had a theater background and stuff, an acting background, and so I was always intrigued by the prestige of, you know, cinema arts. And I also, when I was 14, I was a skateboarder, and I produced a lot of skateboarding movies.
Oh, cool.
And sold them around school on VHS, and that's when I learned how to edit with using two VHS players, VCRs. And it was really a great, you know, analog way to edit. You know, I'm getting sick of staring at the computer screen. It'd be nice to have like 2 tape decks or something like I used to with, but and there's some of those can be found on YouTube and stuff, and it's pretty interesting because I didn't realize then that I was a budding filmmaker. You know, I thought it was all about the skateboarding, but really I was more interested in the videos that I was making. But I thought I wanted to be a professional skateboarder. So it's funny how life has a way of maybe, you know, you don't realize what you're doing, but you're doing it. And so just kind of, you know, over the years, I guess I'm a voyeur too. You know, like I used to spy on my neighbor getting undressed and stuff when I was really young, and maybe that has something to do with it too.
So if we move on to 8 Reels of Sewage.
Yeah, 8 Reels of Sewage. I think it's my one film that I do call a masterpiece. I think everyone should see it. Everyone should own a copy. It's the one, and I shot it for like less than $1,000. Like, it's like my cheapest movie. I spent 8 months shooting it, but I had everyone for free because I was broke at the time. You know, I just, you know, I didn't. And now, you know, I try to pay everyone a little bit, and I have bigger budgets. Like Slink was, you know, 20 or 30,000. And then there was a lot of lab fees with Slink, but we'll get to that in a minute. Like for closed captioning and stuff. But 8 Reels of Sewage, we're doing a screening next in a couple weeks at the Storefront Theater, and I'm going to do a Q&A afterwards. And it's just such a fun movie. There's like 50 people in it, and it's about this woman who wants to become an adult filmmaker. She's like an adult film editor, and she's sick of her sleazy boss slapping her around and giving her grief and all this. So she decides that she can make a movie herself. So she gets a 16mm camera and produces her own little nudie cutie called Kittens in Heat. And then the rival, Art Roberts, who's also in Slink, does a great performance. And I met him on 8 Reels of Sewage. And he plays the mogul who's making his own adult, films for the Pussycat Theater. And he's got a movie called Sex Pet. And they're kind of like challenging each other. And then they end up kind of trying to work together. It's just a very, like, I think it's a great story. It's like it's a nice, well-rounded adventure, fun movie, and I can watch it over and over again and enjoy it every time. So that's to me what makes the movie good when you can see it many times.
Right.
And Slink, I don't really want to watch it right now because I've seen it so much, and it's painful to like live some of it, like because I relate it to the experience, the struggle on set. And that's what, when I watch these major motion pictures, I get anxiety now because all I'm thinking is they must have spent $1 million on that 1 second,
Yeah.
And it's funny, but it causes me, it like overwhelms me, like, and it shouldn't. So I like watching low budget movies because I'm thinking, that's what I do, I guess, and I can relate more. But I've worked on these major motion pictures, and they're just, it's just ridiculous. Like, they're all there to just gossip about each other, and they shoot like 2 pages a day, and it's so slow, so painfully boring. And I think the movie making experience should be fun and lively and fast paced.
Right. You're right.
But no one else seems to think like that, so it's tough. But yeah, 8 Reels of Sewage, I'll send you both a copy if you give me your addresses, because it's really, I'd love for you both to review it. No one's buying it, no one's seen it, but I sell Slink DVDs and stuff, but I don't sell 8 Reels of Sewage DVDs, and it's just funny because people don't know what it is,
Right.
People might see Slink because they go, oh, it's horror, so it's so much easier to make horror movies and expecting to get a little notoriety,
Yeah.
But so hopefully it'll do something. But yeah, that's how I met Art Roberts, and since then I put him in every one of my movies because I think he's the best actor I've ever met.
He's amazing. He really is. Now here's a film that I think I want to see this. It's a comedy music, Hollywood a Go-Go.
Yeah, that's another very strange. It's so crazy because you think you have like brilliant ideas throughout your career, and then some take off, some don't. And Hollywood a Go-Go, it's an amazing movie because it's one non-stop action-packed hour of just go-go girls dancing while they're in voiceover talking about their careers, and basically it's the ultimate go-go movie if there ever was one, because it's all like, it's kind of a mockumentary. Like, they're not really go-go. A couple of them were real go-go girls, but I just got a bunch of actors, and it's also compiled with the footage that didn't make it into Climate Tarzan and 8 Reels of Sewage, because I had go-go scenes in both of those movies.
Oh, wow.
So I guess I have like an obsession, or I had an obsession with go-go girls for a minute there, and I built a stage, and and Adam Trash narrates the whole movie. It's just a wild ride, and I played it at a bar, this bar. It's actually in the hotel that I live in, and it's like this popular Hollywood bar. Gwen Stefani goes, I put the movie on. The manager, I said, I'll invite all the girls. We'll play this movie, and everyone was so mad at it, like, because they didn't because it's half naked beautiful women, and people are threatened by half-naked beautiful women, and that's one thing that's always boggled my mind. Like, while people aren't offended by like blasphemy, people aren't offended by like potty jokes, or like some guy could be like pooping into camera, people think it's funny.
Right.
But I try to photograph women, and people think it's like the worst thing, like that I'm, showing them off, but they want to be showed off,
Right.
while they're these few years of their peak,
Right.
So Hollywood a Go-Go, it's another one of these rare movies that, and I got a bunch of great DJs from the UK to score it. And if you want a copy of that too, I'll send it, because what it was is you put it on in the background at a party and it sets the mood.
All right, yeah.
That's what it's supposed to do,
Right.
Because I remember having parties in high school, and there was nothing you could really put on that kind of set the mood. And if I had Hollywood a Go-Go, it would have been perfect. So I made it, and yeah, I'm gonna try to sell it. It really should be like an $80 DVD, and I should just sell it to clubs around the country to play out, to project in their clubs.
That's cool. Good idea.
Yeah. And then they won't have to hire go-go girls, which are too cheap to do anyway. Like, every club should have a go-go girl dancing at a bar or something. just something to look at. But, they're like $50 a night, so people are too cheap to pay them. So you should put on my movie, and then you get like 50 girls
There you
dancing.
go. Yeah.
And comedy. There's comedy in it, and it's psychedelic too. It's a trip.
Ooh.
So, yeah, Hollywood a Go-Go. Another one of my films that no one really knows about,
Well, who knows? In the future, maybe.
Future, I think it'll take off, but it's just funny because it wasn't until I made Slink that people started to give a damn,
Well, see, that's the thing. We're going to go into Slink too next, but that's the thing. It takes one film for Jared Masters, and then all of a sudden people start doing their homework. Oh, Jared did this, Jared did that. So who knows?
Yeah.
5, 10 years from now, I mean, if they like something from Jared Masters, they're going to do their homework and start searching other projects from Jared Masters. So you're right.
Yeah.
It could be 5, 3, 10 years from now. Who knows?
Yeah, the diehard fans will get my obscure films and love them.
Right.
2013, and a film that everyone should give a chance to sit down and watch it. There's got to be Slink.
Yeah, it was originally called Stitch, but that was taken. So I called it Slink because when I was researching leather, I found out that leather made from unborn calves is a commodity, and I guess it makes a soft leather. It's called Slink. So I was trying to make it so like their cover up was that they were Slink bags, but really they were, they're humans. But so my idea for the sequel was to make, I was going to call it Slink 2 Leather Babies, but my concept was too much for people, and it was going to be that Art Roberts or his retarded son, well, I guess the retarded son died in the first one, but impregnate the women they capture, wait till they're 8 months pregnant, pull the babies from the womb, and make leather out of the unborn baby. But it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. But I see, when I think of like horror, I try to think of like, well, what's like the most disturbing thing? But that's not what people necessarily want. They want like suspense and
Or
stuff.
shock value, but not too much shock.
Value.
Yeah.
So with Teacher's Day, I try to give more shock value. It's more of a slasher, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Slink. I didn't really know what I was doing because at the time when I wrote it, I wasn't the biggest horror buff. I was kind of writing what I thought a horror fan would like. Is that strange? I mean,
No. Actually, no. It's smart. I mean, no, because what you said there. I mean, you're not you weren't too much up on the horror, like you said.
Right.
But if you can think of a mind of a horror fan that has not been seen, then that makes sense.
Yeah. And I am now. It's funny because that introduced me to the world. I do like horror now, but at the time I was just kind of trying to, trying to sell it,
Right.
script and stuff. But so the script just got shelved, and I actually wrote that before Climb a Tarzan, before 8 Reels of Sewage. I wrote it actually around the time when I shot Umbrella, and everyone seemed to want to be involved in the movie. I mean, everyone seemed to like it, like it sounded like a successful, idea or something. So people were starting to want to be producers, and everyone was chipping in and stuff. And so I had more money than ever to make that movie. And it was really hard, to even afford it, because it's so many things start adding up, and just like building the sets and everything, that people don't take into account. That the scene in the stable took about 3 weeks of every day in the hot summer of us going back and forth to the hardware store, and we that table that she lays on, we built from scratch, and probably cost about $500 just to build the table. And then I think now I could have just got an old kitchen table and just thrown it in there, but the construction people I had were so excited about building things, you just let them do it,
Right.
So they have something to show off, and they did a great job and everything. And then the bodies, you don't really see it in the movie, but there's kind of like a freezer type thing, and there's supposed to be a bunch of bodies, not the nude ones that you see, but there's bodies in black bags when Kayla's hiding from the retarded killer. We spent weeks saying, oh, how are we gonna get all these bodies? They're it's $1,000 for 5 of them if you order them from these costume shops, or these the cheapest you can get a body in a bag is about $50 a body, and I wanted a lot of them, so we went down to Chinatown, and this is bringing up crazy memories, because we went to Chinatown and we're trying to buy foam to make these bodies to wrap in black plastic, and then we realized the foam is it's expensive, couch foam. So we ended up just filling these bodies with whatever we could find, and then we needed to get a bunch of leather for the curing room scene where she's going past all these slices of skin, and that's one of my favorite visual scenes. And we realized leather is expensive, so we got a bunch of vinyl, and then we went around Hollywood and we found leather couches that people were throwing out and cut with the box cutters all the leather off these couches. And my production designer is saying don't admit that to anyone, and so but I'm admitting it now because it just shows you what you have to do when you're faced with issues. I could spend $500 on new leather, or I could, it's a perfect tan leather couch. It looks like human skin.
That's brilliant.
So we just douse them in blood, and then we make our own blood, so all the ants and the flies come, and so it's like hot summer day. So by the next day, everything's black from ants, billions of ants, and because there's sugar in the corn syrup that we use for the. So there's just so many obstacles and things that that people don't know you have to go through, and if they knew what you went through, they might appreciate things a little more, because it's so painful, making these movies, but then I do it anyway because I love it,
Right. It's all a learning experience,
Yeah, and so you learn what not to do, especially.
Right.
I'm kind of an opportunist. I think of, okay, what locations do I have available to me, and I'll write the story around that. That's what I do now, instead of just writing a script and then having to find 20 locations. It's too difficult, and then everyone wants, you might have to get permits, or you get these homeowners and these, people breathing down your neck when you're shooting, and I shoot a lot of crazy stuff, and so I like to do it at a friend's studio. I have a good friend, Sonny, who has a nice studio in Hollywood, big green screen and stuff, and he's a producer, so I can shoot there. And or I'll just, what I've learned, if I've learned one thing from this whole experience, is that a lot of things are done in vain. When you're making a movie, people want affirmation just to like feel like they're, so you gotta like give them the affirmation, you know, that their thought counts and stuff. But like for example on Slink, someone's idea was, there's like a team of like production designer or like art directors, like, you know, and he had a lot of great ideas, but one of his ideas was to make a fake haymound like for her to fall onto when she comes out of the window. And it's just funny because he wanted to like build this contraption out of cardboard and wood that would collapse when she fell on it, and then glue the hay to the top of it. And I said, you know, we talked about it for hours, and I said, well, why don't we just have like a real hay mound? You know, is that just too easy? Like, and he wanted to build this fake one, and we ended up using just a pile of hay, and so there's no reason, and some things are just so, but people want to do work just so they can say I built that, you know, and another example is like, you know, on Teacher's Day, very strange, I like wanted this girl to be sipping tea, and so the art assistant like taped a tea bag to the side of her cup and then cut the tea bag part off so you could just see like the string hanging over the other end. And I never asked her, but I always wondered, like, what's the harm in just having, like, a real cup of tea? You know, but they wanted to have it fake, you know? Just so, I guess so they can feel like they are doing something creative. But, you know, so there's a lot of backwards things that are done in vain, I think. And, you know, so, but Slink, you know, there's a lot of things I'd do differently now if I was to, you know, remake it or something. I would never remake it, but, like, what's weird, I've never said this before, but you know, I might as well just, say it now, but we kind of invented our own genre on that movie, and you want to know what it is? It's
sure.
Mexploitation. Because it's about a Spanish family, and you know, I thought it would be a hit in Mexico, and it's really hard to find. Like, it was really hard to like create. But when I met, it was supposed to be a Caucasian family, and it was supposed to be a brother instead of, you know. And it was one of the biggest wrenches thrown in that movie. A lot of people don't know this, but I don't know if you've seen Napoleon Dynamite, but the kid who plays Pedro, have you seen it?
Yeah.
There's the Pedro guy, great actor. Well, he has an identical twin brother who's also an actor, and he was supposed to have a big part in the movie, and he has the commercial appeal because he looks just like Pedro, and everyone thinks it is and stuff. Really nice guy and everything, but for whatever reason, the producers made me replace him. Wow. And yeah, because you know, things happen. But it was supposed to be a Caucasian family originally, and when I met Danica, you know, fell in love instantly, and really just thought she was a true example of talent and beauty and grace, and really easy to work with and everything. And so I changed everything to look like her, like,
right.
Because I can't have her with like a Caucasian father and brother, and you know, so I found a Spanish, and I just told her that at the premiere, and she's like, "Really, you did all that, like, for me?" But I knew I'd found the perfect girl for the movie, so it was easier and made more sense in my mind. I'll just make the father Spanish. It ended up being a sister in the movie, Spanish. So I do what I call scene morphing, where I morph things, and other people can't handle it, but, you know, like for instance, if there's a scene that's like, there's like this whole mortuary scene that was supposed to be done in a diner, and it was supposed to be a creepy waiter and waitress, and they give clues. But I couldn't get a diner I liked in such a short amount of time, so I just said, well, let's just make it a mortuary instead. It'll be creepy morticians. So I do stuff like that all the time where, you know, the story is still there in the scene, but you just switch up the circumstances.
Right.
And
that's smart.
Thank you. And I don't know anyone else who does stuff like this.
It's improvising. That's what it is.
Right. I just, you know, no one is going to say that should have been a diner, you know, when
yeah, right. But it works better with where it was shot at, though, too.
Yeah, and I just added a line in the script that she needs to go to pick up her uncle's ashes, and, you know, it worked fine. And it was easier, and we just shot that right in the house there. I put up a curtain, and he bought a box of Kleenex, and that's the whole scene, you know.
You're right.
So, yeah, Slink was a very interesting experience. I mean, lots, you know, it's just very, very... I worked so hard to like make that movie, and I guess it, you know, paid off, but I'm worried I mean, it doesn't seem like a big production, but it was a lot, you know,
right.
for me. And I was wearing so many hats, you know, I was my own AD and everything, and I scheduled everything and broke down the script and had to cater to everyone's needs. So I'd love to, you know, but it's just like if you want something done, you gotta do it yourself, and it's really hard to hire assistants, and because they're not thinking what you think, and by the time you get them to understand what you're trying to do, you could have just done it yourself. But yeah, I mean, I think Slink 2 would be kind of interesting, and I thought maybe it could be a prequel, because then I could have Donna back, because Donna was really great, and it's funny, the critics loved Donna Lee Heising a lot, like they praised her performance, and you know, she plays Joan, the owner, and and that was supposed to be Raquel Welch's part, but she did a great job, and she's you know, we now have a great friendship and stuff, and I killed her in the movie, and so if I did a sequel, unless I did flashback stuff, you know, so I'm thinking about doing a prequel, like how this all started.
I mean, that's a good idea.
Why, yeah, how, and maybe, you know, he went to dermatology school or something and learned about skin or something, but and I was also hoping that it would make girls be afraid to go to the tanning salon. Because, you know, just like Psycho made girls afraid to shower.
Well, one thing I will say about Slink. Now, I understand that the scenes where you were taking the skin. Now, I understand. You heard me say this before. It's a lack of budget. Okay.
Yeah.
But here's also what I said. It was perfectly done the way you did it. I understand, Jared, that you wanted. I'm sure you wanted to show more of, maybe not, that you wanted to show more of the gruesome skin being taken off. But when it was done that way, it's perfectly fine to me, because I don't need the full gore effect to get the idea of what's going on. So, you know, I'm just telling you now, and I said it in my review, and I said to other people, the way it was done is perfectly fine. I mean, it's one thing if you had $50,000 budget and then you pull it that way, then I can see why maybe, okay, you know, that might have been kind of a little low at it, but considering the budget that you had, it's perfectly fine. And if anybody has a problem with it, I will vocally say it right now, fuck yous, and you make a film. End of story.
Yeah. I mean, these people, I guess, some people crave the gore, and, you know, I like, you know, I think it was Lovecraft that said, you know, if you don't need to see it, then, you know, don't show it or something. Or like, because the imagination is more powerful, and, you know, that's why a lot of like alien movies, once you see the alien, you're not afraid anymore, but you're afraid up until that point.
Right.
So, but
it makes it more creepy. It makes it more creepy by not showing everything.
Right.
I mean, the story is basically based on the characters, not so much of what they do, and I think that's where you pulled it off at, is the characters.
Yeah, it's kind of like a drama and stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a drama going on. Um, and thank you, because I think I'm good with characters, you know, or I'm that's maybe one of my strong points. Like I'm kind of like a dialogue writer, but it's harder for me to write action sequences and things where, like, you know, you have to be really like creative with and play the field and do cinematic storytelling. You know, that's kind of my weakness. I'd probably be a better play director, honestly.
Well,
And I'm thinking about doing a play.
one thing I will say, this is the first film that I seen Donna Lee Heising in, so that's very
I know
first
she's
one.
got like 100 credits. She's got all these credits, and I feel like it's like the classic case where, you know, you do work for people and then they just never finish their project and stuff. And 'cause she's been in a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
done a lot of, and she's got a lot of upcoming stuff, but she needs to be, you know, put up on a pedestal, because I think she's beautiful. I
She
mean,
is
she's an exotic, magnificent, you know, creature. She's a queen.
outgoing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And she's the sweetest lady you could ever meet.
yeah, we've had plenty of talks on the phone.
Doesn't have a bad word against anybody.
Nope.
You know? And people, you know, and so she wants me to write a secret agent movie that she's going to star in. She said she'll produce it if I write it for her. So I might get a bottle of tequila, sit in the bath, and write this out real quick.
Yeah, but she's awesome. She really is. I mean, I've known her for like almost 3.5 years, and we've talked on the phone, and she's a sweetheart. She really is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I met her husband, and he's really cool too, Paul. He came to the premiere, and yeah, lucky guy. And you know, and she's doing all this modeling and everything, and, you know, these swimsuit calendars, and I was really lucky to get her. She thinks I'm doing her a favor. Like, you know, the critics loved her, and she's in Teacher's Day too. She's going to be in my next movie, and so it's fun because I meet people, and then some people you never hear from again, that you never work with again, and then some you want it in every movie, and so it's kind of like it's like building a family, you know, of good people.
It'd be cool to work with her. I think it would be.
Yeah, and she's a pole dancer too, and so she's really something else, you know. And I've seen some of her pole dancing footage and everything, and yeah, and, you know, it was so hot in that room when we shot, and she was such a trooper because, you know, all her makeup was just pouring off, and, you know, I made her wear this fur coat in one scene because she forgot her right outfit. So I'm like, oh, we're going to have to throw a fur coat over you so it looks like you threw a coat over your outfit that you don't have on, you know?
Right.
So it's like 100 degrees in this little garage, you know, that we turned into an office, and I called it the Frolic Soundstage, but it was really just a 5-car garage. But she's wonderful, and she was great with Art Roberts, and it's just so nice when you meet these actors and they're easy to work with, you know, and they don't try to. I really don't like it when it's cute and all when people try to like act, you know, when people come to me and say, well, what's my backstory? Like, what's, you know, they're trying to like fulfill the purpose more.
Right.
And it's cute and all, but it goes too far when people tell me I should have a boyfriend, like call me and break up with me, so people and they want to have like a boyfriend, a lover, like they want to add things to like make their character go deeper and stuff. And, you know, I don't think every character needs like an explanation. You just, you know, he's an eccentric character, you know, just
Yep.
So, and people want to change things like in one of the mortician guys was supposed to be gay, and I thought it'd be good if he was gay, but he didn't want to be gay, you know. So I said, okay, you know, you don't have to be gay, but it's like I think actors should be willing to kind of, you know, who cares if you don't want to be gay in real life? I mean, for the part,
Yeah, right.
You know, like I like when really attractive women do ugly roles. I think that's nice because, and then maybe later on in the movie they take off what's ever making them ugly, and they're kind of like they blossom.
Right.
And Cameron Diaz was really ugly in Being John Malkovich, and it kind of makes you respect the actor more. And a lot of these, I've worked with probably 300 actors, or about maybe 200, 250, and what I've noticed is most of them are concerned with looking cool. Like, they want to look cool in their scene, you know?
Right.
They want to talk fly, they want to act, sly. They don't want to look foolish on camera. But sometimes the character is supposed to be foolish, and it's not supposed to be like a hot, number. I mean, but it's their one shot, maybe their only film, and they want to look good for daddy, and so it's nice when actors aren't afraid to look ugly and pull out their, like Jim Carrey pulls out his, fake tooth for Dumb and Dumber.
Right.
He's not saying, well, I don't want everyone to know that I have like a chipped tooth,
Who cares?
So,
yeah.
So it's just like little things like that you pick up on, and but I'm really happy that you guys like the picture because it was my first horror movie, and I learned a lot from it, and that's, I think I know a little bit more how to do horror, and I'd really like to do more with like slasher type creative kills.
Yes.
I like when kills are like creative.
Yes.
Because there's so many ways to die, and I guess there's a show about that too. I've never seen it, but
a broom handle in the mouth through to the back. Oh,
right.
Yeah, excellent.
So in Teacher's Day, I've got some great. I think they're genius.
Well, go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah. So Teacher's Day, basically, it's a slasher comedy, and it's inspired by Roger Corman's Slumber Party Massacre series. And I called Corman up and I said, I talked to his assistant, I can get a hold of him, but I'm like, I want to make Slumber Party Massacre 4. And they were shocked, and, because the last one was like 93, I think. But my script was it was the same premise, Slumber Party, killer. And they said they were working on their own Slumber Party Massacre movie, and I don't know if they really are or not, but I think Corman just likes to always do his own stuff, but it was inspired by that, and so it pretty much takes place in one house and at the school for a minute there, and I used to think you couldn't be cinematic in one location, but you can be. I mean, I used to think like, oh, it's not cinematic if you just have one location, because you want to see the ocean, you want to see the mountains, you want to see the city, you want to have like a visual feast and everything. But you can replace all that with pretty girls and, a medium-sized house if you shoot in every room, and you keep the characters colorful, and you do other things. Maybe I'm way off, but like a lot of movies are coming out now, like The Conjuring, You're Next, I think was shot all in one location. The Purge, all one location. And me as a producer likes this idea because it's less, if the audience doesn't mind it, it's less work I have to do, trugging everyone around in different parts of the city. And we all get familiar with the location and everything. So Teacher's Day, it was originally called Teacher's Day Massacre, but then people were like, well, it's not a massacre unless they kill 10 people. For the record, there's really no definition of massacre. I think it can be like 5 or 6 or 7, maybe. Right. But is it 12? I mean, what would you guys say? 12? 10? But I'm really excited about this movie. I think it might be my best yet. I think it might be received better than Slink, but I could be wrong because I don't really show. Well, I won't give too much away, but it's kind of more of a PG-13. It's not quite as racy and stuff. But it's pretty scandalous. I mean, like the whole movie, it's like 6 girls in their underwear getting chased by this killer, and getting plucked off one by one.
Nice.
And it's like a good old fashioned slasher movie, and we really don't see those that much today. And it's only like 73 minutes long, and which I think is a good length.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that are too long. I like just quickies, kind of just like boom. And a lot of good slasher movies in the 80s and stuff are like 75 minutes, 73 minutes, but then people are telling me it has to be 90 minutes. So I shoot, like Slink was like 70 pages or 75 pages, Teacher's Day 70 pages. So, and I get these people who give me scripts and they're like, 120 pages, and I'm just like, why shoot more if it's just going to cause you more pain and more, I mean, I try to do the bare minimum, to be honest, because it's already so hard to get that much good footage or decent footage. Unless it's an epic story and it just has to be told longer, but, you could make 2 movies if you're trying to make a 2-hour movie, just make each one 70 minutes or whatever and you get 2 movies. So like I always think like if someone gave me $1 million to make a movie, I'd try to tell them, let's make 10 movies instead.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spend $1 million on that movie and have it be a flop, which it's probably gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Teacher's Day I'm excited about. But the one film no one ever talks about either, and it's on my credits there, is Big Hair, Long Lashes.
I was going to ask you about that one.
I was going to ask you about that one.
And this is where it gets really crazy, and it's probably going to be the film later on in my career where they talk about, this one really, we know he lost it then, because this was, I wrote on my typewriter. I did the whole thing on my typewriter just to see what it'd be like writing a script on a typewriter, and it wasn't too bad, but there's so many typos in it and everything. But it's another 60s movie, and it's not horror, and it's about 7 call girls living in Hollywood and talking about, to their sex therapist about all the Johns they take home and everything. So it's kind of like a vintage erotic art house film. It's really, really, I mean, it's going to be terribly, like, just painful for people to get through. But, because the whole thing takes place in one hotel room, and it's 70 minutes long, and it's just the whole thing's done in voiceover. I break every rule in the book. There's like the plot's very like vague, but they're talking over the whole thing. So I photograph, it's like one giant kind of like peep loop. Like, it's just girls in black lace lingerie doing their makeup at the vanity, riding, walking around the hotel, taking bubble baths, talking on the phone. It's basically a fetish film, And I kind of just did it because I'm so in love with 60s vintage number. I mean, I really have a thing for like go-go and like 1965. The club scene is like my dream. I'd love to go back and party in the 60s because it's just very attractive to me. And today a lot of things are kind of tacky to me, and but I really like like the Russ Meyer type of film. So I said, no one's buying Tarzan, no one's buying 8 Reels of Sewage. I might as well just make one more and have it be and do everything that the critics hated in those movies, do them 10 times. So like in Climate Tarzan, the critics said that I used telephones too much. Like vintage telephones, I like the rotary telephones. And I do a lot of scenes like with. So I had a lot of the phones in this, but it's basically just going to be like a cult movie, and I used my favorite girls from my other productions and stuff, and they're all. It was basically kind of like a photo shoot, but it's like a video photo shoot, and it's gonna have like interesting colors, and it's definitely not for everyone. It's just for like people that like alternative cinema and like to see something different because there's no one else is doing this, and so I mean I don't even know what to think about this picture. They told me not to do it, and so I did it. Like, it's just completely insane.
Right.
Girls with switchblades and stockings and, guys, it's like a roughie. You know what roughies are?
Mm-hmm.
Like, after the nudie cuties went stale, they started doing roughies. So this was supposed to be a roughie, but you can't very well get a girl and make her understand that we're trying to make a stylistic roughie, because, if some guy comes in and pushes her around, she, like, thinks it's like, it's crazy or something. I mean, she doesn't understand I'm trying to make... It's like... they're kind of like horror films. Like, in the 60s, they were trying to, like, figure out what would entertain... They didn't really know. It was, like, exploitation films, roughies are kind of like horror films. And, I don't know if you've seen The Sinful Dwarf, 1973, but, man, it's one of my favorite movies. And it's just about this dwarf who captures women and sells them as sex slaves.
Wow.
And, you gotta see it, because it's the horror movie, but, and Hitchcock did horror movies, but by today's standards, you wouldn't really, kids might not think of them as horror movies, because it's all about the suspense and stuff, but I really like the Hitchcock style. So I tried to do Slink kind of like Hitchcock in a way where, it's just more about, because Macrobee, I mean, you guys probably know better than I do, but horror, is an old type of genre, but it wasn't always like it is now.
Right.
And so you get these bad, like, soap opera type actors in these new movies, like Evil Dead. I wasn't crazy about the actors in the movie because they just were too pretty and too, like, these pretty boys and stuff.
Exactly.
But I had pretty boys in Teacher's Day too, so I can't really knock them. But because I'm trying to figure out what, like, I want to make movies for girls, but I don't want to make movies just for guys,
Right.
And so you gotta have good looking guys too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with these movies they make today. Like, I can't relate. I mean, they just blow so much money. They're trying to, like, I don't know, it's very weird. But one thing I do want to tell you is that Teacher's Day was adapted to a novel, and I'm really excited about it because the author, Stephanie Campbell, who lives in Utah, wants to make Slink into a novel also, and I think it'd be really good because she, like, adds all the backstory and makes the novel much more, like, longer and everything.
Right.
And she just finished the Teacher's Day adaptation, and usually, it's a book first and then a movie, but I guess it's a thing now to have, and it's going to be a nice novelty piece, and she's going to sell it, and she thinks it's going to be big, and she's on 12 other books. So I'm really excited about that, but she's trying to sell it to young audiences, so she took out all, like, the half-naked girls and stuff and didn't want that on the cover, and I was trying to reason with her, like, it's about a slumber party and stuff, and it's tough because I don't think nudity should be such a big deal with people, or especially just girls in underwear. Like, people are just so ashamed and embarrassed. And I remember I used to be embarrassed too when I was, like, younger, and I go to see a movie with your folks and someone's naked, you're kind of, like, embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
But but there's just so many terrible things happening in the world. Why is a little bit of skin such a bad thing? Like, I don't know. Like, because horror movies in the 80s, they always had some naked girl in the shower or something.
Yep.
And it's not a big deal, because you want to have everything in your movie. You should touch base on, a little bit of sexiness, a little bit of comedy, a little, try to have a little bit of it all. And it's just so annoying when you get these R-rated horror movies today that have no girls in them. No, they're just rated R for, like, blood and violence. It's like, you got the R rating, why didn't you step up the ante and just and because I think people like to see, like, naked women getting killed or something, or like naked woman screaming, running with her and then she gets her throat slit open or something. In Teacher's Day, my favorite kill is the girl's curling iron her hair, the hot curling iron, and the killer comes in and burns her all over her body with it while he's pinning her down, and then jams it down her throat, and it got smoke coming out of her mouth and everything, like it burned her.
That's cool.
Like, yeah, she kind of deep throats this curling iron. It's very kind of like symbolic and stuff too, like, because it's kind of like a phallic looking thing, and but it's a creative kill, and there's no guns in the movie, and a lot of the movies it's just a killer with a gun and just blows everyone away, which can be done nicely, like Hobo with a Shotgun I liked, but it's just the creative kills are what's fun, and we had an apple bobbing scene where the girl gets dunked in the apple, she gets drowned, so while she's bobbing for apples, the guy creeps up behind her and sticks her in and holds her underwater, and then we got the camera underneath in the apple bobbing tank and everything, and it's just that's what makes making movies fun, is when you can come up with something creative and lie to the people. Like, it's all about you're lying to the audience and hoping they buy it or at least laugh at it or something,
Right.
That's what movies are, and that's what like acting is. It's like you're trying to make the person forget, or hopefully, like, when you forget that you're watching a movie, then maybe it's a good movie. Or like when you start to believe in it, when you start to get mad at the characters, and I mean, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I really have no business making movies, to be honest. Like, I mean, other people act like they need permission.
I managed to see it, and after I watched it, I contacted Gruesome and said, look, what did you think of this film? I thought it was absolutely awesome. I will honestly say that. And immediately I took it upon myself to contact Danica, and I said to her, look, I thought you was great, would you come on our podcast? And she come on our podcast on Friday, but on Monday I thought I'm going to send a message to Donna and say that I thought that this film was absolutely great, and it was honestly one of my top 6 films that I've watched this year. I thought the cast were amazing. Art Roberts, Julia Faye West was brilliant, and obviously Donna. So that was my experience of Slink. I just wanted you to know.
Thank you, John.
But this was all before I even knew that we was going to be talking to you. I mean, Donna did message me, I think Monday, and said that I'm going to get Jared Masters to come on and speak to you and Gruesome. But I just wanted to give you my feedback from my experience from watching the movie. And me and Gruesome and all of us have discussed many times that the people are always going to be down on low budget just because it's low budget and no other reason. If they I think Gruesome has said this, if they read low budget, straight away they've got a preconception of what this movie is going to be, and they'll sit down and they'll look at it as a low budget movie, not just as a movie itself. And I think that's where all that comes from. Do you agree with that, Gruesome, at all?
I totally agree. We had that conversation with Jared earlier, but I'll just go on the record and say it on this show. There's a lot of reviewers out there that have no idea. All they want to do is be Howard Stern, and they wonder why they don't go nowhere and why people think they're jokes. Is when you go into a low-budget, no-budget film, you have to go into it open-minded and realize, look, it is what it is. Take it for what it is. Understand what the hell you're watching and deal with it. And then that's my medicine for this. And I love no-budget films. I love low-budget films because it shows passion, it shows love, it shows real talent. The actors are not afraid to do things to make the movie better, and that's just my opinion on no-budget and low-budget films. End of story.
Completely.
Yeah. So it's been great. Let's talk again soon, and it's probably getting late where you are, John, and everything. And
all right, take care.
Yeah. All right, take care, guys.
Yeah, we'll take some.
Thanks for your time.
See you, buddy.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.